Welcome to Around the Blockchain. This is DZ, your host here, and want to thank the BitSquad here, the largest, the greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs from here to Pluto. And today, wearing some new merch. Make sure you go to BitBoy Crypto merch, and you're going to see this in the future soon. Market cap. You know, that's how we give you these low cap gems. But today's going to be a great episode. We got some great guests. First off, we have MacNCheeasy, not Mac and. He's very, very specific. It's not and, it's Mac in. We also have MineYourBiz. We're going to be talking about some mining things. So couldn't have a mining episode without MineYourBiz. And we also have CryptoJebb. He put out a great video this morning on Bitcoin rejection. So make sure you check out his channel there. He just passed 150,000 subs, so let's get him up to 200 quick as possible. And we have Ben Armstrong. He bought a bat today, but was it for his enemies? I don't know. You might have to stick around. Maybe Ben has some hot takes on that.
Might be going Negan on him.
All right. I did see some barbed wire and some nails, so now it's all starting to make sense. All right. Before we get into the topics, though, we have gas is too dang high. Largest mining rig purchase ever, and Ethereum breaking out. But let's talk about the market watch first. The markets took a little bit of tumble, depending on what coins are in, that is. Ethereum was up about 8% for most of the day. Bitcoin right now, it's at 47,100, right around 3% down on the 24-hour. Not looking particularly great. Cardano down 2% on the day as well as the week. Right now, Cardano, $2.76. Binance coin 464 down about 3%. So, but there were some big gainers. I know Kusama was up a giant amount, up about 30%. Look at that huge pump. Polkadot looking like some of these Ethereum challengers are starting to spike. Could be the gas fees. We're going to get into that on the downturn though. Phantom down was down a whole bunch. Luna, Avalanche. So yeah, we're starting to see some a little bit of consolidation on some of these that gained a whole lot. You know, we can expect that. Jebb, you just put out a video, Bitcoin rejection. What is the markets telling you when it comes to Bitcoin here?
Yeah, so right now, what we're seeing happen on Bitcoin, and by the way, thank you for having me again. I'm looking forward to this show, guys. Make sure to hit that like button. What we're seeing right now on Bitcoin is what is known as a diamond top formation. That is what essentially happens whenever you see something that looks a little bit like a symmetrical triangle pattern with an uptrending level of resistance before that and a downtrending level of resistance before that. Doesn't really matter what it looks like. The point is, a lot of times you see it show up at the top of a market. At the same time, we've also seen that ADA has been doing pretty well, and Ethereum has broken out above its local high and is trading pretty highly today, which we're going to be talking about later. So Bitcoin at the moment is in a bit of a precarious situation. There's a lot of reason to be bullish on it. There's a lot of reason to be bearish. What we were talking about on this morning's live stream is those reasons to be bearish. I personally still think that Bitcoin is going to break out above $50,000, but I think it's probably going to happen a little bit later in this week or moving on into next week. We have to make sure that we're looking at both the bullish and the bearish side so that we have a full and holistic point of view on what the price is doing so that we don't get ourselves too caught up with the bullish or the bearish and not really realize exactly what things are doing. I personally think Bitcoin is bullish, but the point of our video this morning was that we need to make sure that we're understanding both sides of that argument.
All right, yeah, with that diamond formation, it can go either way. So I see what you're saying when you need to show both sides. And you get a little candle, you get a bigger candle, you get another little candle, you get a little diamond formation. We're not talking about Diamond Dallas Page, diamond top formation off the top rope. Although that would be cool too. We need to do it some of those hedge fund managers, if you know what I'm talking about. But let's get right into the gas is too dang high. And we're not talking about it at the pump. Although there are some hurricanes, so that might be jumping soon too. But
it's pretty high there too.
We're talking about the Ethereum gas fees. A lot of people are saying it's the NFTs. A lot of people are saying it's just the market. The usage is up, so of course it's going up for that reason. We're looking at some of the numbers. It's jumped 154% since last week. So on August 21st, transactions were averaging $11. Right now, $28, $27.98, so almost $30. It's almost tripled here. We're seeing these giant gas things. So it's the costs to interact with smart contracts and Web3 platforms have been even worse. Depending on the coin, you might see a minting fee of $1,000. You can see 100 on a Uniswap. So we're seeing these giant maximum amounts here. And I know eventually we're going to reach a breaking point. So Ben, what do you think the breaking point is for an ETH swap on Uniswap? Is it 100? Is it 200? Oh, looks for once. He's silenced.
What? Who?
Oh,
Well, I've been trying to keep my mic on mute so you don't hear my swallows on my protein drinks. Well, I drink when I'm not on the camera here. But look, I mean, how do you think I get these gains, guys? Okay, it's all the protein. So here's the thing. I think anytime Ethereum is the gas fees are above about $50, I think that makes it really hard for smaller traders. I mean, most people are willing to pay a $20 fee. When it starts getting above that, people start getting concerned, but it's certainly not to a breaking point. I mean, what's going to be really interesting is when Ethereum really does break out, which is going to happen probably in the next few days, in my opinion. I mean, we've already seen it, going above 34. What's it at right now? 33.86. So it's hovering around 34. It looks like it's coiled and ready to move. And it's always a catch-22 of Ethereum moving, because when Ethereum moves, the gas fees go up with it. The congestion goes up with it because of the awareness, the popularity, the NFTs, the DeFi, the whole thing. So, in my opinion, I think that really the problem spot is above about 20 to $25, especially when it gets closer to 50. Smaller traders are like, if you're trading for $1,000 of a coin and you're down $50, you're down 5% right away, then that's going to mean you're going to have to make a much larger than 5% gain just to get your money back. So that's what I would say probably the break-even point is. But right now with the gas fees, CoinMarketCap has not been working for me today. It's been it's working. I was getting server errors for a while. Were you?
I had a refresh. And once I refreshed, I was like, oh, I guess I'm not bringing up that main page. So just moved on. But
I had to refresh like 7 times to get it. But right now the gas fee is or the GUI for ETH gas is 71.5 Paraguays. So also known as 143 GUI, but it's 71.5. So anyways, I think that right now it's totally manageable. I mean, that's not super, super high. Once it starts getting 200, 300, 400, people will start, bucking up against it. But I mean, ultimately we want Ethereum to go up. And so really it's kind of like paying taxes, right? We had to pay capital gains tax. Like, I know I went out and talked to Graham Stephan. Like I was on his podcast, back in, I think it was February, we went out there, and he was just so taken aback by the capital gains tax. He's like, but why would you make all this money? You have to pay capital gains tax. And I'm like, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a great problem to have to pay tax. The gas fees are very similar. It's a great problem that so many people are using Ethereum that the prices are going up. So, I mean, ultimately, it's a good thing. We want the price to go up, but over time, we do need to get it reined in and solved.
Yeah, as Proposition Joe on the wire would say, that's what I call one of them good problems. And I'm totally in agreement with you. But you raise a really good point where if you're down 5% immediately, you have to then make that. But sometimes it's, depending on the amount, it could be 10%. So you're down 10%. But then when you try to cash out, you're down another 10%. So if it goes up 20%, you're just barely breaking even. So yeah, there's definitely some issues. And for the retail investor, that's something you definitely need to worry about. Now, Mac, we were talking about NFTs before the show. We're starting to get into it here. I got the fever. I think you got a little bit of the fever. Congrats on getting those Soul Bears. I was able to, wasn't quite able. So Solana is blown up. A lot are saying it's mostly due to the NFTs. Do you think for these new coins that are trying to compete with Ethereum, are NFTs their roadway to be the killer DApp, you think?
So with people trying to get into NFTs, and a lot of the NFT market is retail investors. These are things that people like. They like getting a polar bear. They like getting a penguin. They like getting a badger. They like these things. So when they're exploring these different networks to leverage, for them, all of their money is pretty much invested capital, in a sense that relatively early adopters of Ethereum may be able to stomach the Ethereum fees, because this time last year, one whole Ethereum was about $300. So you're playing with gains in a sense from like leveraging this gas fee. So you're playing with house money. So people who are coming new to the market, they truly feel this $20, $30 gas fee. And for people trying to get into NFTs, you're experiencing gas wars on the Ethereum network. Now, what a gas war is effectively you're trying to mint an NFT at the same time as a lot of other people. And this requires you paying more gas so you can actually get the NFT. So not only are people losing money on gas, they're also potentially not even getting the NFT if they're late to the party and they don't win the gas war. So when people are looking at NFTs, they're like, okay, where can I invest? Well, as I kind of mentioned on the show last week, the Solana world is kind of a new frontier in the NFT space. And this is primarily because it allows for these retail investors to come in, buy Solana, which is relatively cheap, which has gone up of late, which is in part due to the influx of retail investors trying to get into the NFT space. So they're able to buy and sell these NFTs and actually flip them. So the NFT market on Ethereum, it still costs this gas fee if you're buying and selling it. But on Solana, you buying and selling is fractions of a dollar. So it truly allows for the market velocity of NFTs on Solana to be extremely high. And we're seeing that. And at retail, people are messaging me. They're like, how do I even buy these NFTs? I don't have enough money for this gas fee. It's getting old. And I think Ethereum, they're trying to do it through a number of ways, but they have to figure out this gas fee, this gas issue, before all of retail looks to more cheaper networks.
Yeah, on Solana, my most expensive gas fee, if you whatever you want to call it, transaction fee was 1% of a Solana about $1.10. So yeah, $1.10 was my most expensive fee. So yeah, I mean, they definitely Ethereum has some catching up to do if they want to compete as these other ones gain in popularity. But let's talk about these competitors. We have Binance Smart Chain, Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Terra, Avalanche, Tron, Cosmos, EOS. We have all these coins trying to compete with Ethereum. I'm going to ask you real quick, which of the competitors would you say that you are personally most bullish on?
Wow, as far as something that's in production right now, DZ, and works today, it's actually a competitor that you didn't mention, and that is Polygon or Matic, right? So Matic is already in production. A lot of miners, they already received their mining payouts from the larger pools like Ethermine. They're offered gas-free on Matic today. So you have mid-scale miners who already have gigahashes and gigahashes of Ethereum mining in production, and they're choosing to use this network to take their payouts as opposed to the native asset itself, Ethereum. So I think as far as like where my money is right now, literally when I'm mining, it's in Polygon. It's not even a choice. It's just that's how I get access to my mining fees with less headache and lower friction, lower transaction times, and far less fees. So yeah, that's where I'm excited right now. But to all the other like would-be competitors to Ethereum, I think first off, we need to just like if you remember 2017, 2018, we used to hear this phrase, Ethereum killer. That's gone, right? Like we can't even bring that up anymore. Nothing kills Ethereum. It's never going away, whether we want it to or not, or we want lower fees, some kind of relief from the really high gas prices. Ethereum is never leaving this game. They're still the biggest player. They're still the MVP, straight up. The total value locked, all of DeFi as we know it, the fact that NFTs even exist and that they're even called NFTs as opposed to just digital collectibles. All of that is thanks to Ethereum, literally every single point. So while it's not going away, I think from the other competitors that you mentioned, I'm excited by Solana. Yeah, I mean, that ultra high transactional throughput is, I mean, to a technologist, it's cool. It promises, it doesn't just promise all these high-speed transactions and all this throughput. It's actually delivering that right now. We're not waiting for a roadmap or a test net or multiple other test nets or like, oh, finally, we'll bring you smart contracts after this date or mark your calendars or announcement after announcement or fake Lambo giveaways or fake, Tesla truck giveaways. It's just here. It just works. So that's pretty exciting. Those two I'm most excited about because I'm a hands-on guy. My hands are dirty in crypto right now or in blockchain right now, and Polygon and Solana facilitate that.
So you're saying I didn't win that Tesla truck? I gave the guy my seed phrase and everything. He said it's good to go. Well, you brought up Ethereum killers, mine. Would you say, is something we said on the channel, is it possible that Ethereum is the Ethereum killer?
No, I think the Ethereum core devs are the Ethereum killer, but you didn't hear it from me.
Okay, all right. Hot take there. All right, and the chat's loving Matic. I mean, they're blowing up with the Matic. I'm seeing Matic everywhere. Someone said maybe we'll love Pulse Chain. Time will tell. We're talking about Pulse in the office, so I'm interested in that. All right, real quick, I want to bring up one last thing on this topic is MetaMask numbers. I was looking into the numbers just to kind of maybe explain why are we seeing these giant gas fees increase. The MetaMask numbers about a year ago, July of 2020, it's about 540,000 people. Right now, we're looking at over 10 million, so an 1,800% increase in MetaMask people. Ben, are you a fan of MetaMask, or do you like the more centralized exchanges?
What kind of question is that? Do I love the centralized exchanges, DZ?
I like KuCoin.
Yes, I love the centralization. Let's, you
always talk about KuCoin.
Yeah, I do like KuCoin. I like KuCoin because they don't have KYC and because they don't give the proverbial F about anything. But once they are made to give the proverbial F, then KuCoin will be, down the tubes just like the rest of them. So just like we've seen with some other, derivatives exchanges over time, like the regulators do come down on these people eventually. So, yes, we want decentralized exchanges more than anything else. Anytime I'm using a centralized exchange, it's simply out of convenience. And, that's just because I'm short on time and I'm in a hurry and I'm just like, let me just go ahead and make this trade. But we want a totally decentralized world when it comes to exchanges. That's by far the preference. I mean, that's what crypto is built on. So it's one of those things. Do I think it'll ever happen? No. Will we always have centralized exchanges? Yes. I was looking at the volume of Binance, and Binance is like 6 times bigger than the number 2 exchange in volume, which is insane. I think it was either FTX or Coinbase was showing like $3 billion in transactions. Or in volume. This is just something I was looking at the other day for a 24-hour period, and Binance was $18 billion. So I guess that's technically 4.5, but a lot of them were in the $3 billion range. So that's about 6 times those. And the smaller exchange is 7 to 8 times bigger than those. So Binance is such a big player in the space. It's not going anywhere. But do we wish that we could get to a world where everything was decentralized? Yeah, I mean, I think that's the utopian vision. We kind of have to, cross our fingers and hope we can make happen.
All right, hot take that, yeah, KuCoin might capitulate and end up starting asking more of that KYC stuff. That's a pretty good prediction. I wouldn't disagree with that. If you like Binance, go ahead and give us a little B&B in chat. Make sure you hit that like button. We're at 865 likes. I know we could blast right past 1,000. Let's try to hit 2,000 for the end of the episode. But let's go to the next topic here. Largest mining rig purchase ever. There's a company called Canon. I might be saying it wrong. They're the inventor of the first ASIC Bitcoin miner. So they're basically the industry standard when it comes to mining equipment. They just said a company secured an option to purchase 200,000 of their top high-end Bitcoin mining machines. Genesis Digital Assets is going to purchase this, and if they do it, it would be the largest Bitcoin mining machine sale ever in history. So we're looking at a huge amount. Now, Genesis Digital Assets, I mean, they've mined over $1 billion in Bitcoin already. And we've seen, obviously, this has paid off. But, we've talked about it as the halvening, decreases. We're going to see less of an impact on the mining with the halvening schedule. MacNCheeasy, do you think that this will be a profitable business, purchasing such a high volume amount of mining equipment? It's going to be hard to move, or is this the best business decision of all of mankind?
So Bitcoin is here to stay, and similar to Ethereum, it's not going anywhere. And this is here for the duration of the foreseeable future. And what Bitcoin mining is essentially the backbone of this future economy and this future store of value. So by investing in these Bitcoin miners, they're essentially investing in the infrastructure of the economy. And these machines will pay rent in Bitcoin. So if gold is still around, which it is, there's still gold miners, surprisingly. I don't know who's still in gold mining. Get into Bitcoin mining. That's just a bad business decision there. There's a reason why in July, I made a substantial investment into Bitcoin miners. The reason being is I want to have exposure. I want to have this digital space that will pay me out in Bitcoin. It's like having real estate in New York City that pays rent in Bitcoin. And they're effectively buying up blocks in New York City, but on this digital world. Now, and the beauty of Bitcoin is that there is a fixed supply. Now, what that means, and it's something to keep an eye out for kind of the bearish side or the bullish side, depending how you look at it, is the more mining rigs that are up and running, there isn't going to be more Bitcoin that's released into circulation. So I made the comparison to gold mining, right? So if the price of gold mining goes up, or the price of gold goes up, the amount of miners is also going to go up. And as a result, the supply of gold is going to go up. When the price of gold goes down, the supply of gold goes down. So it's somewhat elastic. For Bitcoin, it's inelastic. So no matter how many Bitcoin miners there are, there's going to be the same amount of Bitcoin that's issued per block. And then according to the halving cycle, so there is a concern as more and more miners go on, we're going to need the Bitcoin price to appreciate miners can sustain and have cover their electric costs. So it is somewhat of a concern just if it continues to expand. But if Bitcoin goes where it's going to go, this is going to be looked at as maybe one of the best investments that this business could have made.
Yeah, I heard you reference the digital real estate in New York City. Starting to sound a little bit like Michael Saylor. I heard Manhattan was built on granite, and referencing a little Benjamin Cowan, Michael Saylor interview. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. We love Benjamin Cowan around here. And so Genesis Digital Assets, they're already one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies in the world. They brought over 300,000 mining rigs online since 2013, a third of a million there. Jebb, are we starting to see too much centralization in the Bitcoin mining after the exodus out of China?
Yeah, that's a big concern, actually, and it's one that a lot of people have been posing for the last several years. Look, the thing is that economies of scale exist, and so it's going to be a lot more price efficient for a lot more cost effective, I should say, for a big company like this to turn 100,000 miners on and, like MineYourBiz was saying earlier, get gigahashes and gigahashes and gigahashes worth of mining power, because it's all more than likely going to be in the same building, or it's all going to be in just a couple of buildings on a centralized power supply with centralized cooling. More than likely, it's not going to be all spread apart, so you don't have a bunch of different buildings that you have to take care of, a bunch of different power lines that can go off. So there is a natural economic incentive towards the centralization of mining, and that's a really big issue because there isn't a whole lot of centralized hardening against centralized mining like there are on some cryptocurrencies on Bitcoin. Bitcoin centralization of mining is actually a really big concern. And we have, if I'm not mistaken, seen the amount of centralization on Bitcoin, and you might be able to correct me on this, Mine, the amount of centralization on Bitcoin mining under some of the major mining pools moving in the direction of some of the big dogs having a lot more of it. And I think you're onto something there, DZ, with the fact that Bitcoin mining went offline in China. A lot of those miners are being bought up, and a lot of them are being bought in bulk. Part of the reason is because the miners are kind of hard to move with how many issues there are going on with the global supply chain network right now. So I think a lot of these miners that went offline in China are going to go to these bigger organizations like we're talking about here with Genesis Digital. The thing is what Mac was saying earlier is that the price of Bitcoin obviously has to appreciate to make sure that these miners stay profitable. And if it doesn't, then only the big dogs are going to stay profitable. But if it doesn't, then those miners are going to go offline, and it's probably not going to be the big guys who have very high profit margins because of those economies of scale. It's going to be the smaller guys who are operating a mom and pop mining business. But I really like the way that we're looking at this as owning a piece of infrastructure. That's a really good way of looking at it. It's almost as if you could buy into a portion of the U.S. interstate highway system. I like to equate Ethereum to the U.S. interstate highway system because the foundation that everything's built upon. The thing is, we're trying to build something very decentralized that is also as robust as something like the $200 billion interstate highway system in the United States of America, and that's very difficult. I don't have the answer to centralization on Bitcoin, but I do think it's a concern, yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on it in the future. So you're bringing up hash rate. I don't want to get too caught up in the details here, but as of August, they're looking, Genesis Digital Assets, they're looking at 2.6% of the global Bitcoin mining hash rate. So they're getting a giant percentage. If you want to break it down in math, every 40 Bitcoin that's mined, they're getting about one, a little bit over. Mm-hmm. So their mission, and this is their mission statement here, is to build the world's largest and most profitable Bitcoin mining operation in the world by 2025. Now, MineYourBiz, we're bringing up a good point. The more miners there are, the less profit, less percentage you're going to get. Can they stay profitable if sovereign money takes a huge interest in this? If we see, mining operations in Iran, America, Israel, Russia, China maybe capitulates, will they be able to stay profitable if sovereign money gets in? No, we left them speechless.
Yes, you did. It's a rare opportunity. First off, guys, I'm actually tired of talking about mining because I talk about it hours every week on my channel. Check it out. We go hard. So let me give you a little education here. This is just a brief overview of what Bitcoin mining actually looks like. So we can talk about it. We can theorize about what it looks like. But these are the actual breakdowns of the pools. There's not really a risk of genuine centralization outside of what the pools already do. The top pool already has over 18% of the Bitcoin hash rate. And it goes on down that list. So whoever's contributing to that, well, the mining pool is the one that really does control that, and they would be the threat. But to get back to your main question, your main point there, can it remain profitable when sovereign money gets in? Absolutely it can. So shout out to Lord Fusitua. I know you're in the audience somewhere, and just a fun character from Tonga. But Lord Fusitua, we talked about it privately, and I'll just address him here on the live stream. You have sovereign nations like Tonga, the island nation of Tonga in the Pacific, that are interested in seeing what happens in El Salvador and seeing what eventually happens in Cuba, and what the advisor to the president of Colombia is talking about, right, with these moves toward accepting Bitcoin as legal tender. And they're wondering, how do we get involved? So to your point about lending infrastructure to Bitcoin for a smaller sovereign nation, this is the way forward. So in the same way that every kind of industrial revolution or every kind of automation or massive invention that helped to improve the GDP of a given civilization in the past, there were these power shifting points, right? These genuine inflection points and switch tracks in the history of humanity where there were civilizations that got ahead through their industry and their technology. We might see that now. I don't know if it's going to come from the Middle East. I don't know if it's going to come from Eastern countries like China. Clearly, they had a problem with having it there. I think it was the biggest mistake they ever made. But I mean, literally, thank heaven for it, because it gave the rest of us a shot, right? But these smaller sovereign nations, when they get involved in Bitcoin mining, that will be their way forward. In much the same way that you see the citizens of Saudi Arabia treated like royalty. And that's part of their national charter. That's part of what they hold as a bit of a constitution, is that their citizens will always live a cut above everyone else in the world. And they have the resources to do it, right? So when you go there, you see. For us now, at this time, and moving into this new generation of technology, first off, MacNCheeasy, I want to ask you, when you get your Bitcoin mine, can you send me a Bitcoin grill? Because I need that when you start really mining it in.
Yeah.
But
no. Oh, go ahead.
As they get into this is going to be their way in. This is how they enrich themselves. The same way that we saw natural resources in other countries, the smaller sovereign nations that are just crazy enough to try it, they're going to win big. And it will be profitable still.
Chat's loving that. Chat's loving that. Let's give you another one. So I don't even want to read this last one. I just want to let you know, I disagree with them, but they're saying you look like my garden gnome. I think it's the Keemstar beard. You got a thick beard. I'm jealous.
I heard it's altcoin daily with a fake beard and mustache.
Yeah, Keemstar beard. I mean, I think you could get lifted from like a plane by your beard hairs. It's so robust.
Well, my day job is actually I do Bible videos. I play Moses. So guys, don't make it weird.
There you go. There you go. You're
just jealous, Daisy.
Yeah. I am jealous. I can't get the connection right there, but that's a whole nother topic. But let's go, speaking of another topic, let's go to the final topic here. Ethereum is starting to break out. I'm going to try to share a chart right here where we're going to look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. And this one thing we mention a lot, you don't always want to look at your coins paired to the dollar. You want to look at your coins paired to Bitcoin or Ethereum, depending on what kind of market you're looking at. But if you see right here, this is the daily chart. And Ethereum is doing a huge breakout. We're probably going to see a little bit of resistance. And now that could go one of two ways. We could see Ethereum slow down, or we could see Bitcoin catch up. And I want to say I'm leaning a little bullish here because everyone's starting to get a little bit worried. I think Bitcoin's going to catch up. Obviously, we can't sustain this forever. But if you look right here, we had a few dailies in a row, kept popping up. So, I mean, we see some good runs. I mean, if you look at that run right there, so the break's might not be set yet. Who knows? It's going to keep on going. That's my prediction. We've talked about it a lot. I think 1/10 of a Bitcoin is on the cards here. But so far in 2021, if we look at for the entire year since the beginning of January, Bitcoin is up 63%. Hey, pretty good, right? 63%. Stock market, they would kill for 63%. Ethereum, it is up 373%. So we're seeing a big difference there. Ben, when you go out, you're working with these baseball families. You got a lot of normies coming up to you. I was just recently on vacation, so I experienced it a little myself. When they come up to you, are they talking about Doge? Are they talking about Ethereum? Or are they talking about Bitcoin?
You had people come up to you while you're on vacation?
Yeah, believe it or not. Believe it or not.
You got recognized?
They knew me already, though, so it's different.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah,
Wow,
they're
your
like,
star power.
yeah, you're telling me to buy it 2-3 years ago. I wish I would have listened.
Yeah. TJ, can we get DZ off air? I'm getting a little concerned. What's the question? I was so focused on you getting recognized.
when a retail investor comes up to you, are they more interested in Bitcoin or are they more interested in Ethereum?
No, they don't care about Bitcoin at all. The only people that care about Bitcoin are people that this is literally, they've just discovered crypto exists. They're the people that are interested in Bitcoin. Anybody who's been in this market for, over a couple weeks, or is not already very wealthy, they want to know how can they get the biggest return in the smallest amount of time. And everyone recognizes that's not Bitcoin. I mean, just go look at charts. If you watch crypto YouTube for about 3 days, you're going to understand that there's a lot more and a lot better opportunities out there than Bitcoin. Now, over the long term, it's hard to say what the best opportunities are out there. I mean, obviously Ethereum is in there and Bitcoin is in there as well. But when you've been in crypto for long enough where you really start accumulating wealth, then that's when, I'm more like Bitcoin for most of my crypto career, since I got into YouTube in 2018 in January, Bitcoin made up probably like 10% or less, sometimes less than 5% of my portfolio. Now that we've done really well, I hedge it a little bit, so it's closer to almost 30% of my portfolio is Bitcoin. So the people that are getting into crypto now, especially the retail investors, they want to know the best bang for their buck, and it's very clearly Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, XRP. These are all projects they should be. VeChain, Polygon, which has been kind of still lately, which means it's probably see a lot of people complaining about Polygon, saying they're getting ready to sell it because it's not moving. That's probably a good sign. It's about to moon. So, I think there's plenty of better opportunities in Bitcoin out there.
All right, so basically, they don't care about the tech. They just care about what's going to pump. How can I get rich? How can I do what you did in less time?
Cares about the
tech. No one cares. If they're already orange pilled. All right, ET from home in the Twitch chat said, I'd recognize DZ. So, ET, thank you very much. Give me a little pep in my step when I end my day.
He's an alien, DZ. He's an alien.
Well, maybe he's from
already,
Pluto.
He's already probed you before, I'm sure. So,
gosh.
Hey, if I was limping, that was totally unrelated. All right, so a lot of people are saying ETH, it's the burning. It burned 500 million so far, so we passed the 500 million mark. That's pretty huge. A lot of people are saying Bitcoin will eventually catch up with with the Ether's gains. So Bloomberg Intelligence just released a thing. They're saying with Ethereum pumping, it's more likely Bitcoin is going to reach 100,000 this year. Jebb, if Ethereum does end up dragging Bitcoin up, maybe kind of like what we're seeing right now, is it still possible for us to have the Ethereum pop a month after Bitcoin's hype? Or is that no longer going to be possible, you think?
Yeah, so you got to pay attention to what happened at the end of 2017, because at the end of 2017, Bitcoin hit all-time high on December 17th, 2017. It might have been the 16th. It was whenever the futures launched. It went and hit all-time high, and then Ethereum didn't hit all-time high until a little over a month later. I want to say it was around January 20th, 2018, that it hit its all-time high. And in that case, Bitcoin was the one leading the market. But now if we look back into more recent rallies, a lot of the times the market has been driven by either Ethereum or the altcoin space as a whole. And it hasn't actually a lot of times been Bitcoin driving it. Now, when we saw Bitcoin break $20,000, Bitcoin definitely was the driving force there because it broke 20K. A lot of institutions were getting in and they were mainly focused on Bitcoin. But at this point, I think we actually are looking at a scenario where Ethereum and some of these major altcoins, especially Cardano, Solana, some of these other big decentralized application NFT platforms where you can build decentralized exchanges and all of this and the like, all these infrastructure coins, as I call them, are probably going to have a massive amount of investment coming in from institutions that are already in Bitcoin or are not into cryptocurrency, but they're looking to get into cryptocurrency. They might be smaller businesses. They're looking to get into it. And like Ben said, I think a lot of people are looking to these smaller cap altcoins because they're looking for a higher return, even if there is a higher risk. So I think the altcoin space is going to lead Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the next several months. I think that Bitcoin is going to $100,000 relatively soon. And I think in this case, Ethereum will probably hit its all-time high around the time that Bitcoin does. I'd be very surprised if Bitcoin hit all-time high and then Ethereum hit all-time high after Bitcoin, when Ethereum and the altcoin space are the ones I'm expecting to lead this market. It makes a lot more sense to me that Ethereum would all-time high first and then Bitcoin would follow after it. We might see a blow off top on Ethereum and then a rounding top on Bitcoin, like we saw the last time, where the last bull market, this bull market, but the beginning of this bull market was initiated by Bitcoin breaking $20,000. But then about halfway through, we started to see the cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Cardano and Solana and some of these other cryptocurrencies start to take the lead. We saw the blow off top on them, and then we saw Bitcoin have a rounding top because a lot of that interest went into those. I think it's really important as we're looking at our technicals and the price action that we pay close attention to where the value is going. For example, a lot of the value in cryptocurrency that would have been sitting on the sidelines was deployed into Cardano just a little while ago. Cardano rallied from $35 billion in market cap to 85 or whatever it is right now. That's $40 billion worth of market capitalization that isn't going into Ethereum or Bitcoin. And the same thing is happening now that Ethereum is breaking to the upside. It broke out of a descending wedge on Ethereum over Bitcoin. We talked about that on our show this morning. And it's also sitting right below the golden pocket, which for my analysts out there is 61.8% to 65% on the Fibonacci retracement from all-time high to the bottom that we hit on the 20th of last month. If you look at that Fibonacci retracement, we are sitting right below that resistance. So if Ethereum breaks above, I think it's about $3,500, $3,550. If it breaks that, we're probably heading straight back to all-time high. And then if Ethereum heads straight back to all-time high, Cardano is probably going to $4, and the rest of the cryptocurrency space is probably going to follow, and it's going to drag Bitcoin up. So TLDR, Ethereum's doing very well. It's probably going back to all-time high. Yes, it's probably going back to all-time high relatively quickly. It's going to bring the crypto market with it. It's going to lead the crypto space. I think that Bitcoin's going to follow, and they'll probably hit all-time high around the same time. A new all-time high in several months.
All right, let me nail you down on something real quick because you brought up something pretty interesting. You said Ethereum will hit an all-time high before Bitcoin. I kind of agree with you, but do you think the ultimate all-time high will be before or after Bitcoin's all-time high for the bull run?
I think that Ethereum will hit its all-time high before Bitcoin.
Interesting. I'm gonna ask everybody this real quick. Ben, will Ethereum hit its all-time high this bull run before or after Bitcoin?
Before, but it's
before.
Close.
Wow. We've gone from a month after. Now we're starting to say before. Mind your biz. Are you agreeing, or are you going to say we're going back to the old model a month after?
I'm just going to say that none of these currencies are going to do anything that you charted before. It's not a fractal. They're all. I mean, it's like the Captain Phillips thing, right? It's like, no, look at me. I am Honey Badger now. I'm not even going to venture a guess.
Okay, not even going to guess there. MacNCheeasy, what about you? Is it going to stick to the traditional pattern of a month later, or like Ben and Jebb said, is it going to be before Bitcoin's all-time high?
I think it's going to be the traditional pattern. I think right now we're seeing this money flowing from these alts. We're going to see it flow into Ethereum. It's got these network changes, these tokenomics, the gas fees. I think that's leading to this price change. But I think at the end of the day, Bitcoin's the market leader. And then once that decides we're going into a bear, buckle up.
So just real quick, Solana and Cardano can't really help the situation. Is Bitcoin still leading the charge, huh?
I think Ethereum can help lead the charge, and I think we're seeing that. But kind of to mind your business point earlier in the episode about the Ethereum killer is the Ethereum devs, and that
that's a good one.
The Polygon and Matic are what we should be looking at for these layer 2s. I think layer 2s are super important for Ethereum specifically, and once we see Arbitrum, which is pretty soon going to come up, which is a roll-up layer 2 solution, which we have yet to truly see on Ethereum. Once we see that integrated, I think a lot of the talk on these other networks is going to dwindle a touch, and we're going to realize that interacting on Ethereum layer 1s is going to be potentially a thing of the past. In like 5 years from now, we're going to be interacting on layer 2s, and that's just going to be normal practice.
All right, Arbitron, huh? It also shoots photon bombs with Galvatron. So, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. And that is all we have time for today. Oh, real quick, I'm going to agree with Mac and say it's going to be a 3 weeks to 4 weeks after Bitcoin. So we got 2 saying before, 2 saying after. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. When do you think Ethereum is going to have all-time high compared to Bitcoin? But Jebb, you are the winner today. It was that new background, I guess. Not the your final rant at the end that pushed you over Mind Your Business points. It was definitely the background. So congrats. Go ahead and give us about 30 seconds and give the people a parting thought.
All right. Well, I won't do that first one, but I'll do the second one. Guys, smash that like button if you haven't already. And subscribe to BitBoy Crypto. Fantastic channel. And also make sure to check out all these links down below. Guys, the very most important thing that you will ever invest in your cryptocurrency journey is not a cryptocurrency. It's not an altcoin. It's not a DEX. It's none of that. The most important thing that you will ever invest in is you, because you're the one working on that. That's why you need to be paying attention to channels like ours and learning every single day, because the best investment you will ever make is an investment in yourself. And the more you learn, the more you earn. Peace.
All right. And we appreciate our guests going on. In the description, check out the links to all their channels. Make sure you go there, hit the subscribe button. And that is all we have time for today. Around the blockchain. Easy out. Later, BitSquad.